All right, everybody, the October 2024 project of the month is here. Let's get into it and see what we've got. All right, let's crack it open. What have we got? Okay, so we've got a surface. We have our coupon. I'm going to say surfaces. That's embellishments and everything. So we've got our coupons. It's got all of our social media on there, so you can find us. Okay, and this surface has got some special things to do with it. I'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, and as normal, if you're new to the project of the month, these things I'm going to say almost always, because I don't know that we've never done it, but I don't want to put myself into a corner, but we include the surface, we include the stencils that you'll need. We, generally speaking, have stickers, and they're really cute stickers. So they're just a darling. Gobble till you wobble. Okay, and then we always have one of these little brochures, and the brochure is special because it comes with instructions on how to stencil, so you can read that. Also gives you links to the website and gives you like color information and brush information. And then inside, it talks about what you got and then how you can use it. So this is a surface, and then it's got a pumpkin stencil, and you can see it's got a snowman stencil. So you can use this one way on this side, and you could make it into a snowman, and then you can flip it over and you can do something fall with it. And then we've included all the pieces. So what you would do is you would put your hat on it so that you put it on with like a command strip or something like that, so that it can be peeled off and stored, so that when you turn it around, you're not gonna have a problem. And then if you use one of the easels that we introduced a couple months ago, then you can stand it on your easel. Well, that works. You want to choose an easel that has a measurement that's lower than your surface size. And because he's got a nice wide bottom there, he stands in there nicely. So then you can display this on a stand. You could put it in a wreath. You could put it some holes in it and hang it, whatever you want to do. But the easel makes it easier. So, and then we give you painting ideas, like how would I paint this? And then in this case today, I'm going to paint the fall to show you how the stencil works. I'm not going to paint the snowman, but we just got done painting this, and it will be released by the time you get this video. Just got done painting this tall porch sign, and this snowman would look so cute painted in the same style as this. So that is, you can go reference that video to see if you want to get inspired. So on our stencils, we've got Mr. Snowman face and then his accoutrements. So he's got his things that you can embellish on his hat and that kind of stuff. And then there's snow place like home. So you can put that on his little belly. And then walking in a winter wonderland. Okay, so we try really hard to make these be projects that would be universal. And then don't forget, if a project isn't up your alley, because they're always a surprise, if a project isn't up your alley, don't forget that they make fantastic gifts. So you would have a gift giving opportunity. Okay, so this pumpkin stencils have an etched line out here on the outer edge. Okay, and that is to reserve the space for your outer edge shadow effect. And then we've got 3 words that would all be good for your pumpkins. To get started, you can use either side of this project to paint either one of these items. And so I'm going to use number 17 because this stencil is made like a mask. So what will happen is when I lay my stencil down on here, then this will mask my brown, and then the brown will stay behind the lines, if that makes sense. So it will be my shadow for my pumpkin sections. Before I'm getting ready to do this, I want my project to stay still. I don't want it to be running around or on my surface. So I can do one of 2 things. This is a like a non-skid fabric for underneath your rugs. So that's one option. This is a Dollar Tree towel that you guys have seen before. That's another option, and since this is already really dirty, I'll just go ahead and use that. So see how that just secures everything. Okay, so when we don't have a place to tape on your stencil, then you go find a hole on your stencil so that you can tape the hole. And then you can move to another hole as you go. So I have probably 4 or 5 times the amount of 25 as I do of the 40. Just want this to lean into the orange side. Okay, and then we use our jumbo dauber. And I always daub off on my palette. So you never want to go into paint and directly onto your project. You want to make sure that you daub some of it off. Offload, whatever word you want to use for it. And then we're going to use our maskers. So I've got to stay out of the pumpkin below. And I'm not going to worry about my stems as much because I can just go right back over and just give them a little bit of color. And I think, since we've got a mask, I think I'm going to use this orange color and shade the outer edges. And let that yellow kind of be a highlight. And when you do this, you don't want to have that color stop just on one section. You want to walk it in to the other section. And then I think we'll go into 52. And this, I'm going to want to be really careful because these long, skinny lines can be harmful. They can move on you. So I'll highlight just gently the swirl right there in the middle. Walk it out, walk it down. Okay, let's take a peek. Cute. See how good that looks? I'm going to need this brush, so I can take a piece of plastic bag and then just cinch that in. Okay, so I think I want just a little bit of something extra, so I'm going to go in the dark orange. And just shade down in the corners. Okay, I think that'll do that. So, next pumpkin. How easy is that to use a stencil and get that effect? I just think it's magic. I love stencils. So the next color is 40. So I'm just going to use this brush, this applicator, and it'll be close enough. I'll need to do a couple of coats anyhow. Okay, now's when I really don't want to mess up the above pumpkin. It probably doesn't matter at all if I get some oranges on the lower pumpkin, so I think I'll probably avoid masking that. We're going to go into our yellow. Is that dry enough? We'll start with the mix. we go into our highlight, lighter color number 52. Okay. And then we want our dark color. Did the other one with the applicator. I'm gonna try this way with this one. And now we go into our darkest color, which we said we were going to darken it with that red. And applicator. Make sure when you're doing the bigger pumpkin that you hold down those lines because they're going to want to bounce quite a bit. Okay, so next let's pick up a shade color. Let's mix a little bit of 37. It's got a very purple look to it. So your shadows, when you're making your shadows are generally speaking going to be, they're going to reflect the area that they're around, but generally speaking, they're going to be cooler because they start moving to the black or the dark colors. And so you generally speaking will have a cooler look, cooler like temperature. Okay, so we're going to blot that over here. I just want to pick this up and just have just ever so much. I don't want to take over the world with it. You want to avoid any lines, so you want to blend gently to avoid lines. It's going to be stronger at the bottom. And so my tapping is going to be softer as I get into the middle. And I think I'll bring a little of this color up into here. Yeah, I'm going to have to treat the other side the same and then get out my brush. I'll blend it that way. What's the rule? Wet paint attracts wet paint. So if I put this brush on that wet spot right there, it's going to grab and I won't be able to feather it out. So I want dry paint so that I can feather out. Okay, so that is definitely more feathered. And we want to get this guy highlighted. So you can use this technique on any kind of pumpkin that you're painting. You can use the same colors. You can use the dry rubbing technique and all of that. So this is not specific to like this stencil project. When you're going to highlight, especially in the right smack in the middle of something big. You want to make sure that you are really wiping your brush off over here, or you're going to end up with a big mess. You want to use shape following. We're in the middle of this giant sphere, so we want to keep our angles. It's important to keep each highlight within the other highlight. So if I've highlighted with a medium color, and then so I highlight this much, right? And then I change to a lighter color to give it intensity, then I'm going to slide my highlight in so that some of that, the edges of that first highlight show. So this one will be blended with the background, then the next one will be in the middle of that, and then the next one will be like maybe a final glitz or glam, that kind of thing. Okay, and then our final. Okay, I think now let's patch our stems. Okay, now let's grab some black. Neutralize my brown. And now let's give it a little bit of shade. Okay, and then we're gonna get another brush. This is brush specific this time. And let's get some sort of stem highlight color. Let's go with Frappuccino number 44. So we'll take just a little of 44. And this doesn't need to be as wiped off because I'm gonna do a little dry brushing. First, I'm gonna give my stems a little top. And then we'll just scratch on some separated dry brushes. You can leave some separation so they have that like gnarly stem thing going on. And I think we can go one step further. So number 79. Just dirty brush and highlight, scratch. That just gives them a little bit of a something going on. And no pumpkin project is finished without spatters. It's just not a thing. So to spatter, I'm using a white Wonder brush, and I'm going to use some black. And I'm going to thin it. And tap over here to get any big old blobbies out. Don't think I'm thin enough. And I keep it kind of more in that shadowy side of things. And here's a secret, spatters will follow the point of your brush. So make sure that you're guiding your brush where you want your spatters. Okay. And then I think we'll spatter the small guy with the little purple colors. And the reason I'm choosing that is I don't want as much contrast on the brighter pumpkin. Okay. And then we spatter with our, I'm trying to debate in my head. I think we'll go with this gold first. I'm out of room. Can make this work. And now that color's not working because it's not bright enough. Okay. So we don't want to slide the stencil while the spatters are wet. Okay. How about them apples or them pumpkins? Look how cute. Ta-da! So now it's a matter of which word do we choose. Are we going to be blessed? Are we going to be welcoming? Or are we going to gather? I guess I would depend, the answer would depend on where in your house you're going to use this. So if I was front dooring, I would absolutely welcome. If I'm at dining rooming, I would gather. And if I'm in the living room, I might be blessed. So I think that would be just kind of a neat thing to think about. And then you could also, you could gather up here. You don't have to put it on the bottom one. You could put it wherever you're going to do the thing. So let's make this a welcome. All right, so I'm getting ready to stencil on my welcome word. So I'm going to use dry brush, wipe it off, and I'm just going to do a dusting of color on it because I'm going to do a drop shadow. So just want to know where to put my stencil back. When I'm done, it's not as much to know where to put the drop shadow as it is to know where to put my stencil back. I peel that up and we get that dry. I think because the W is really waiting on that side, instead of doing what I always do, which is I usually am the drop it down and drop it over, I'm going to go to the other side. So why am I stippling? You know I don't like to stipple. Those of you who have seen these videos, it's because these lines are skinny, and stippling gets inside the lines when they're skinny. Okay. That almost looks really good that way. I think I might stick with that. Color me so surprised. Now I'm going to put that stencil right back on there and use, I'll do 79, keep it in the family. Dirty this and pick up some of that cream color. So I'm highlighting like an ombre effect right through the middle of the letters. So I want to get all the lines. Could go across, but I think I like up and down. Go back with just that color, dirty in brush. Give it a little bit more highlight. And let's see, let's mask the gather and mask my blessed. I'm going to use 47, and we're going to spatter. And drag in a little bit of the 79 color. And we'll turn our brush sideways. Unmask. And hold on and lift up. Fun. So now that we have teal introduced, I'm going to take a medium-sized brush. I'm going to take a little bit of my teal, and we're going to accent. Okay, so we're going to come up here in our darker areas. Yeah. We're going to add just a pop of teal. Okay, I think that is a good touch. Okay, let's get them dry. All right, I almost completely forgot about my leaves. So as well as doing dry fits when you're doing stenciling and stuff like that, so you know that things are gonna line up right, I also like to do that a little bit when I'm putting embellishments on. So I want this embellishment to be on the wood so that my snowman can show on the opposite season. And then I want it curled into the word. So I want to use the shape of the pumpkin and the shape of the leaf to curl it in there. So if I did this, I would be leading your eye out of the project. So I want to keep my eye going towards the project. And I don't want it centered. I want it to be like off to the side. And then I'm going to use some copper wire to string these guys so that they dangle, and I'll show you that technique. Steve had a great idea that we've been exploring. Tape the leaves down, but tape them onto a palette. Then you can move the palette so that you can still paint your project and move them around without touching everything. So now I can slide these guys wherever I need them to be. Can flip them over and do all that kind of stuff. So, but it's lovely not to have to hold on to them and chase them around. Okay, I'm gonna really wipe that out and then go into number 54 and attempt using this jumbo brush to see how am I gonna approach this. This is number 32. So notice that I just put a little bit on the tip of my very jumbo brush. So that's one way that you can control the size of your brush is by how much paint you actually put on it. Okay, and back into our spatter brush. And we're going to spatter with our electric green. This is where turning your project is good because I want the brush to aim outside of the leaf. If I anchor my brush, the spatters will fall on the other leaves. That's not quite what I wanted to have happen. If I anchor it, they'll kind of fall right where I want them. Okay, so that woke them up. I want to take a little bit of my orange bring some orange in there. Now I'll dry this. All right, and this is a little secret weapon. It is sticky on one side and it is drywall patch material. And so it will stick on here. And then I can use a brush and put on a little checked pattern with my teal in the light green area. See what that looks like. A bit more. That didn't show up. And then that gives us just a little bit of interest and a little bit of something going on. And I think that's our leaves. Okay, so let's talk about wiring. Now what I like to do is I like to use a lot of wire. And this came in a set of little spools like this. It has all the colors of the rainbow in it. All right, so we know we're gonna want a curly pigtail. So I know I'm gonna need a bunch of wire for the curly pigtail that hangs out on both edges. All right, and then we know we're gonna have, oops, he's the big guy. We know that this guy will go way down to the bottom. Well, he's gonna be our top guy. You're gonna build it like it's gonna hang. So you can just curl that around the leaf. And then I wanna take and spool some so that it dangles. And then I wanna put this leaf on. And then you just play with it. So I think that's a good spot. And then this guy will be hanging down, but we want to curl him first. Go the other way. Sometimes when I get done doing these, I get the jitters because everything bounces so much. And a little leaf. I put the big leaf on. Rats. Will this one still work? Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, and let's get a really small handled brush. The last little twisty poo. And then we'll bring him over here. Let me see how these work. And then you give yourself a couple of good twists around there. It needs a little tail. And then you get a little 3-dimension going on right there. And I believe we've done it. Ta-da! How cute is that? So, thank you so much for joining us in the project of the month. And I'm so glad that you are painting along with us. We'll see you in the next video.